The harsh realities of living in Alaska, what no one tells you. Alaska, the name alone conjures images of breathtaking landscapes, majestic wildlife, and the mesmerizing northern lights. But behind the picture-perfect scenes, life in this remote frontier is anything but easy. If you've ever fantasized about moving to this vast wilderness, you need to know the real story. The truth is, most people who relocate to Alaska don't last. The extreme conditions, the isolation, and the sheer cost of survival drive many away within their first year. Today, we're peeling back the layers of this rugged paradise to reveal the challenges that many won't talk about. Before you start packing your bags for the so-called last frontier, make sure you're prepared for what it actually takes to live here. Brutal winters. That test your limits. Imagine stepping outside and feeling the air slice through your skin like a knife. In some parts of Alaska, winter temperatures drop to -50 degrees Fahrenheit or even colder. In the town of Fairbanks, people don't just deal with freezing temperatures, they battle frostbite and frozen car engines every single day. And it's not just the cold. In certain regions, the sun disappears for months. In the northernmost city, Utqiaġvik, the last sunset of the year happens in November, and it doesn't rise again until January. Imagine waking up in complete darkness, going about your entire day with no sunlight, and trying to keep your mental health intact. Seasonal affective disorder runs rampant here. Many residents struggle with depression during these long, sunless months. If you rely on sunshine to lift your spirits, living in Alaska might not be for you. And then there's the snow. It doesn't just fall, it buries everything. Roads become impassable, cars vanish under layers of ice, and entire towns shut down. If you don't know how to handle a snowstorm or drive on treacherous ice, Alaska will chew you up and spit you out. The cost of survival will shock you. Most people assume that since Alaska is so far from the rest of the United States, it must be cheap to live here. The reality? Alaska is one of the most expensive places in the country. Imagine going to the grocery store and paying $10 for a gallon of milk. A simple loaf of bread, $6 or more. That's the price of living in a place where almost everything has to be shipped or flown in. Think gas is expensive where you live? In some remote Alaskan villages, a single gallon of gas can cost up to $7 or more. Heating your home in the winter is another financial nightmare. Without a steady income, simply keeping yourself warm becomes a battle. Buying a house? Good luck. In certain areas, there are only a handful of homes for sale and competition is fierce. Rent prices are sky high, and if you think you can just build a cabin in the woods, be prepared for permits, land costs, and months of waiting. For many people, the dream of living off-grid in Alaska is crushed the moment they realize how much it actually costs to survive here. Isolation like you've never experienced before. If you're the kind of person who thrives on social interaction, Alaska will test you in ways you never imagined. Some towns are so remote that they have no roads leading in or out. The only way to get there? A tiny bush plane or a long boat ride if the weather allows it. Forget about same-day Amazon Prime deliveries. Some people wait weeks or even months for their packages. Need to visit a hospital? That might mean flying hundreds of miles to Anchorage or even Seattle for treatment. And then there's the sheer loneliness. Many Alaskans go weeks without seeing another human being. The small communities here are tight-knit, but if you're an outsider, it can take years to truly feel like you belong. For some, this solitude is peaceful. For others, it's suffocating. Can you handle living somewhere where you might not see another person for days on end? Living among some of the most dangerous wildlife on Earth. Alaska isn't just a state, it's a wilderness. And that means you're not just sharing your backyard with your neighbors. You're sharing it with bears, moose, wolves, and other deadly animals. Step outside at the wrong time and you might find yourself face to face with a grizzly bear. These aren't the cute, cuddly creatures you see in movies. These are 1,000-pound predators that can outrun, outswim, and outclimb you. Think you're safe in a car? Think again. Moose are not afraid of vehicles, and hitting one can total your car and put your life at risk. Even wolves, though rarely seen, roam the vast landscapes and have been known to attack humans in rare cases. Living in Alaska means always being prepared. Many residents carry bear spray or even firearms because out here, you are not at the top of the food chain. Finding work is harder than you think. Unless you're moving to Alaska with a job already lined up, Finding work can be a serious struggle. Most jobs here are seasonal, tied to industries like tourism, fishing, and oil. During the summer months, businesses thrive, and there are plenty of opportunities. But come winter, job opportunities vanish. Many people end up unemployed for half the year, forced to stretch their earnings from the summer just to get by. And if you work in tech, marketing, or finance, your options are limited. Alaska isn't exactly a hub for office jobs, and remote work can be tricky in areas with unreliable internet access. Unless you're willing to take on physically demanding work, whether it's commercial fishing, construction, or working on an oil rig, finding a stable income can be a serious challenge. A culture like no other. Despite its challenges, Alaska has something that keeps people coming back: its strong sense of community. People here are tough, self-sufficient, and deeply connected to the land. There's a saying in Alaska, "You don't survive here alone." People help each other, whether it's pulling a stranger's car out of a snowbank or offering food when supplies run low. Alaska is also home to rich indigenous cultures, including the Inuit, Tlingit, and Yupik people, whose traditions date back thousands of years. Newcomers must understand that this land has a deep history, one that deserves respect. If you're willing to embrace the way of life, Alaska can be one of the most rewarding places to live. But if you're just looking for a scenic escape without understanding the reality, this state will break you. The final verdict. So, is Alaska the paradise you've been dreaming of? For some, it's the ultimate adventure, a chance to live off the land, connect with nature, and experience a level of freedom that few places offer. For others, the extreme weather, high costs, and isolation make it unbearable. If you're thinking about moving to Alaska, ask yourself, are you truly ready for the reality of life in the last frontier? Would you survive here? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content on the world's most fascinating destinations. See you in the next video.